Why is it so hard for artists and musicians to make a decent living? There's this archetype of the struggling, starving artist, and the reality is for a lot of artists, even professionals who are very gifted, uh, making a living, making enough money to survive and thrive in our society is a real challenge. And so today I'm going to talk about some of the reasons for that, the underlying socioeconomic reasons for that, as well as what you can do as a musician or artist to have the livelihood that you want. And this is going to be an overview. I'm not going to get into too many details in that. I'm going to be sharing some more videos over the coming weeks that get more into the details of how you can transform your livelihood into something that feels more satisfying and lucrative. Today we're just setting some of the groundwork, some of the philosophical groundwork, because that's so important. Because if you try to make a living in according to the values of the economic system in which we live, then that's actually not going to serve your art in the long run, and it's also going to make making a living feel very unsatisfying, effortful, icky, and you're going to feel that conflict between what's good for your art, what feels good for you as a creator, and what it takes to actually make money. So there is a solution, and I'm going to share my thoughts on that today. So before we get into all of that, my name is Joseph Arnold. I'm a violinist, professional violinist, and Alexander Technique teacher, and director of the Soulforce Arts Institute. And today I'm going to be sharing some from my upcoming book, the Soulforce Arts, the vital role of musicians and artists in creating a more beautiful world. And this is from chapter 10 of my book called Aligned Livelihood. And if you want to learn more about my book, you'll very soon have an opportunity. I'm going to be launching a new website soon, and I'll be publishing in November. I'll have pre-sales available in just a couple weeks in early September of 2023. So please do stay tuned to this channel to find out when all that's going to happen and how you can get involved, that kind of a thing. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm going to read to you from chapter 10 on aligned livelihood. This is the first section of the chapter called From Struggle to Soulforce. It starts with a quote from Lewis Hyde in his book, The Gift. How is an artist to nourish himself in an age whose values are market values? Here we go. For many artists, money and art are unhappy bedfellows. On the one hand, we love being able to make a living from our art because it affords us the time and energy to go deep into our creativity and share it with others. But on the other, what it takes to make enough money to survive and thrive in our society is so rarely in alignment with our love, authenticity, and creativity. Given this conflict, the choice for many artists can at first seem stark. Do you become a starving artist and accept penury as the price for artistic purity? Or do you instead choose a life of greater financial stability and risk becoming a sellout? At its root, the seeming conflict between art and money is one between the true purpose of the arts and the demands of our economic system. As we've already seen throughout this book, the true purpose of the arts is to provide avenues to beauty, aliveness, growth, healing, and wholeness. But our economic system can't put a price on any of these things, and as a result, it demands we turn our art into a commodity, a stomach-turning conversion, which effectively saps our art of its full aliveness and transformative potential. Moreover, the artificial scarcity inherent to our society's economic system makes life like a giant game of musical chairs in which we have to make money constantly, or else fall into destitution. And as an aside, I will include a really great description of that game of musical chairs a YouTube video that I really like in the description below. Continuing on. Because of the way it so consistently pits our love against our survival, and because we need to survive in order to love, our economic system, to a greater or lesser degree, makes sellouts of us all. The terrible choice we face between our love and our survival leads many artists to avoid matters of money, business, and marketing as much as possible. But of course, this often only makes things worse, because without competency in these areas, you are less equipped to ensure financial success. But this is not the only reason to stop avoiding money, business, and marketing. The deeper truth is that the way you make a living is inexorably tied to how you make art and the impact it ultimately has. Every gig, every sale, and every showcase are actually a part of your system update. Because, to a certain degree, the medium is the message. Therefore, to regard money matters, business, and marketing as inherently distasteful is actually a form of separation, one that has the potential to block the fullest expression of your soul force. The key to resolving the seeming conflict between art and money is to recognize that just as you turn your art into an avenue for aliveness, just as that you can turn your art into an avenue for aliveness, so you can with your livelihood. An aligned livelihood is one that brings more life into the world, because it no longer exceeds the deadening effect of the commodification and scarcity endemic to our economic system. Instead, it consists of the choice to stand in your deepest truths, wholeness, and aliveness as you face the significant challenges of surviving and thriving in this system. You will, of course, recognize this as the very definition of Soulforce. When you align your livelihood with your soul force, a whole new world of possibilities opens up. Firstly, you will no longer have to compromise your creative wholeness, authenticity, and aliveness in order to survive. Instead, you'll be able to engage in money matters, business, and marketing in a way that matches your deepest and highest values. Far from decreasing your economic viability, doing so will only add to the inspirational quality of your art, thus drawing more people to you and enhancing your bottom line. And because your deepest and highest values are very likely already in alignment with the well-being of the world around you, your livelihood will have a net positive effect on our society and planet. This chapter is a guide to aligning your livelihood with your soul force, so that you can achieve what may now seem to be impossible: the ability to make a profitable, satisfying living as an artist, which makes you, your art, and your world more whole and alive. One final note: you do not need to be a professional freelance artist to gain benefit from this chapter. Rather, what you will find herein, in the following videos that I'll make as well, is useful to all artists and perhaps all people, whether or not you actually earn money from your art. Instead of offering advice specific to certain artistic careers or to professional artistry in general, this chapter explores a method of aligning your livelihood with your deepest and most authentic desires. And this is something that will enrich and enliven your artistic life, regardless of if you're a tenured university theater professor, a professional studio musician, or a hobbyist painter. Okay, and so then further on in my chapter, I talk about what is real wealth, what is the source of scarcity in our society, and what are the ways in which you might be overly agreeing to the values of scarcity, the values of our economic system, and how that might be limiting what you believe is possible in your livelihood as an artist. How coming into a greater livelihood is about more than just money, right? It's about getting in touch with what wants to be born inside you and healing anything that gets in the way of bringing that to fruition. And then money is a nice side effect of doing that. Yeah, and I'll give in the following videos, in the coming weeks, I'm going to give several very concrete activities and explorations for you to do. So it's not all going to be philosophy. It'll get very practical. And yeah, so you'll have some of the tools you'll need to at least begin exploring this realm. And really the most important thing is that enjoying an aligned livelihood is really an act of healing. Most people think of business and marketing and career as an act of doing. And of course there's a lot of doing involved as well. But it really starts with healing. Healing the parts of you that believe that you aren't worth it, that you can't do it, that you don't deserve success. The parts of you that have been hurt by the scarcity endemic to our economic system. There's a part of me, maybe there's a part in you as well, that just knows that life is supposed to be about abundance. And I know that word gets used, maybe overused, in sort of the new age manifesting and wealth-seeking community. But for me, abundance is just like, it's just nature. Look around, like, do birds need to sing that much? Do trees need to fruit that much? Do the oceans need to produce this many fish? Abundance is the very nature of nature. And it's also what defines a great livelihood. And so when you begin to heal the messages of scarcity inside you, then you can begin to tap into true abundance. And maybe that means making a lot of money, maybe it doesn't, but what it definitely means is getting in touch with aliveness, what is alive inside you. And that right there is what art is all about. That's what being a professional artist is all about, right? So more on all this to come. Hope you enjoyed this. Please do click like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for my book pre-launch events and the publishing of my book, which will hopefully happen in November of 2023. And other courses. I'm planning an online community called the Soulforce Arts Tribe. I'll have a new website up soon. Lots of good stuff. Okay, see you next time.